Okay. If there are no questions, let's get on to this topic. The secret ingredient. Once there lived a seer who meditated with great austerity. One day, a young villager was touched to see the seer drowned in meditation. Out of reverence, he bowed and offered his greetings in silence. The seer felt the young man's presence and opened his eyes. He was pleased to see the young man and asked if he would like to meditate. The young man was a simpleton, and even though he did not know much about the inner journey, he readily agreed. So the seer asked the man to sit under a tree next to him and guided him through meditation. As they meditated, a bright ball of energy descended and spoke to them. Blessed souls, your efforts have knocked at the gate of the Lord, and you both shall be liberated soon. Hearing this, the seer said, "Thank you, my prayers have been answered. When will that blessed moment arrive?" "In the third life from now, you will be liberated, Holy One," said the light. That very moment, sorry. So hearing this, the seer became downcast. Perhaps he was expecting liberation in this life. Maybe at that very moment, who knows? The young man then asked, "When will I be liberated?" "So count the leaves on this tree you are meditating under," the light said. "It will take that many lives, and your liberation is guaranteed." Hearing this, the young man started dancing with joy. The seer could not understand this behavior and asked the young man, "Why are you dancing up and down? What's the matter with you?" "Didn't you hear?" the young man asked. "The Lord just granted me liberation. How does it matter when I get liberated? One day I'll be right up." As soon as the young man spoke these words, the light said, "Son, your attitude is worthy of the Lord's court. This life shall be your last, and you'll be liberated at the end of it." So saying, the light disappeared. So the story has many lessons, but the biggest takeaway is about the attitude with which we approach life. In case of this story, gratitude transformed the young man's destiny. In all walks of life, the right attitude ennobles our actions. Your attitude is the secret ingredient to your success. Okay, so here there are two things which are mentioned, attitude and gratitude. So how do we understand this story? So, I mean, look at that seer who have been practicing meditation all his life. And why do you think he's been meditating? Of course, the goal of being liberated, reaching the highest state, Lord's abode, is a typical goal of any spiritual or religious undertaking, right? Otherwise, without the goal, why should I take up any spiritual or religious practice? So religion is always promising heaven. And when you come to spirituality, the same heaven, the word is replaced by liberation. So first, let's understand what is liberation. Anyone wants to answer what is liberation? Sorry.
I would say it's freedom.
Freedom. Freedom from what?
Freedom from our mental bondages. It's like everything is given to us, what we need at the moment. As the prayer says, all the resources are there. But as a human being, I feel like not enough or not able to, but it's all there.
Right.
So when we understand that everything is okay and we can live with the moment in front of us.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a very good answer. So liberation is a total freedom. When we achieve this freedom, so when do we achieve this freedom? So a lot of times we assume that the freedom happens after death. But truly the liberation starts with every meditation. That freedom starts with every meditation. And we grow into that freedom slowly but surely. And that state, it's a mental state. Everything from a spiritual perspective, it's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. So when we reach that state, all the bondings are dropped. So we are free. I mean, bondages are doesn't mean, the mother and child bond or, husband and wife's bond. It's not like that. Here, the bonding is where mentally we dissociate with all those clutter we accumulate over a period of time. Like Shilpa ji said, it's not enough to, take care of. And it's not enough to, it is never enough, right? We're always seeking something. So that kind of a seeking, material seeking drops. Now, again, the question is, when that seeking stops, would I be growing materially or not? Otherwise, how will I work? How will I, excel in whatever I am doing if that seeking is gone? So liberation doesn't mean that seeking is not there. I mean, it is there. So that's why, Chariji kind of explained this in elaborate sense, aspiration versus ambition. We must always aspire for good things in our life. But what happens is when this ambition kicks in, it sort of puts a lot of pressure to make it quick. But aspiration, what it does is it makes you skilled in whatever you're doing. It will make you excel in whatever you're doing. When the quality is there, the everything follows. The money follows, respect follows, everything follows. So the problem is, instead of focusing on the quality, we focus on what we can acquire. So the true liberation is where we become a true seeker of quality in our life. And that quality shows in every aspect of life, whether it's relationships, whether it is your work, whether it is, your business, whatever you are engaged with, that it transforms into something. So a true liberation is where we excel in everything we do. So it's a total balance state. Whereas when we become ambitious, we sort of become vultures. Apologies for using that word. Yes, truly vultures. We're always, uh, searching for things without excelling with what we do. So there is a huge difference here between a liberated state and a non-liberated state. But again, even the liberated state, that freedom which we reach, Babaji said it's only the first rung in the ladder of spirituality. So it's a lowest achievement from an achievement perspective, but all our Indian scriptures talk about liberation as the most highest thing one can achieve. But there are so many zillions of states above liberation, which we go through as we go through the spiritual anatomy. And spiritual anatomy also shows us in the coming topics what is exactly which point we get liberated. But here the most emphasis is on your attitude. So the attitude of aspiration rather than ambition. Even like for many people, even when they come to spirituality, oh, am I at point one, am I at point 10, or am I at point 13? That becomes it's a very ambitious goal rather than aspiring goal. So by hook or crook, you want to get there. It becomes as an achievement, something you possess. It becomes a power. And as you all know, power destroys. Recently I was talking to one of my, good friend who heard from Daji. Daji said, if you want to destroy a person, give the power to that person. The power will destroy it. So here it is not an accumulation of things. Even when we come to the, so-called path of knowledge, what we call Gyan Marg in Sanskrit, there also we are thinking of accumulation. How many books of scriptures I read and mastered? Is mastering the scriptures important, and or acquiring the qualities the scriptures are showing is important? Let's say, assume I by heart the entire Bible. That's a typical practice in Islam. You have to by heart the Quran. You should be able to recite without looking at any book. That's the goal. Okay, I by hearted it, but have I understood the essence? Am I able to implement what I read or what I by hearted? That is the attitude. So here in attitude of spirituality, there is no accumulation, there is no acquiring, there is no possessing. If you want to become free, you cannot be possessive and free at the same time. It's not possible. So the right attitude is whatever the Lord wishes, but I am ready for anything, whatever He grants me, whatever His grace is, I am ready to accept it. That's why, Jesus could, he was well balanced even on the cross. Even on the cross, he kind of treats as if that is the Lord's gift to him. See, such a grace in that personality, such a grace in that attitude. That's why he became the Son of God. With small problem, with small disturbance with somebody, we lose that grace. Right? So that's why attitude is everything in spirituality. And of course, the gratitude comes as we progress, as we experience, and then we recognize all this is happening because of the Lord's, grace, regardless whether we deserve it or not. Then the gratitude comes. I mean, in fact, gratitude is more than a million times more than the devotion which we can express to the Lord. So when this gratitude develops, all expectations drop. Then you are ready to give yourself completely. It's not your possessions. When you say yourself, you can give, $1 billion, but it doesn't matter. What is $1 billion to the Lord? What does it mean to him? Nothing. Only the self, when I can surrender, that means a lot over there. So that is why this attitude is such an important aspect. That's why Daji kind of titled it as secret ingredient. It surpasses everything. I might be at the 13th point. What if I don't have the right attitude? It doesn't help. There are umpteen examples who have reached there but did not make it. So here, it's not the spiritual status which is important. That's why the seer, in this story, even though he has only 3 lives, he's already disappointed. The disappointment took him back on the evolution. But whereas the boy is happy, even after million lives, it will happen someday. It's all Lord's grace. He's happy. He's able to receive that grace. So the attitude makes us receive that grace. The right attitude, of course. So what is the right attitude is to only develop this or try to excel in what you do. Aspire. Then things will happen. Things will follow. Everything follows. And if we look back, the patterns of attitude, we have developed over a period of time, those attitudes have, become an impediment. Wrong attitudes always kind of put us on the failure path, whether it's in relationships, whether it's our education, whether it's our current work life. See, Babuji, he was a junior clerk in a government office. It is almost the lowest position in the office. But whatever he did with all sincerity. Because of his sincerity, it kind of brought some balance in his life. So it doesn't matter whether I am a CEO or the lowest in the organization. If that sincerity is missing in me, my life becomes troublesome. I could see the repercussions of it. It doesn't matter how much money you make out of that job. When that sincerity is missing, it creates a havoc in the self, imbalance. So all the depressions and everything people go through is because that sincerity, that attitude is missing in their life. Okay. So I'll stop here. Any questions, comments are welcome. Or anything you want to share, please share. We have 2 minutes and then we can get into meditation. All right, so let's get into meditation. I'll start.